Holy fuck.
All right. Okay.
My fucking Christ. Oh my god.
Hi, everyone.
Get
Or
fucked.
all of you.
Modern web developers, please, all of you, get fucked. The idea of making everything so slick and smooth is great until you can't find dick in your applications because it's this happened to me on Mac once. I couldn't find the fucking scroll bar because they hit it into the side of the screen. Like, this will be great. You can't see anything. Yeah, motherfucker, I need to see things to use it. This is like people who eat in the dark. I hate it. If I can't eat in the dark because I can't see my goddamn food.
Okay, wait, stop. Who eats in the dark?
All kinds of people.
So, as you can tell, folks, we've had a great 20 minutes of trying to figure out how to do even the most basic shit. As we've mentioned before, Corey and I are dinosaurs. We don't know how to do dick all with anything technology, which is why we do everything in fucking Google Docs. So yeah, working with OBS has been just a real fun learning experience for both of us. That being said, thank you for tuning into the stream. Sorry for the technical difficulties. And we are now on. So before we get down to business today, Corey, we have a couple of fun pieces of business to attend to.
I'm still so mad.
I know. I'm going to let you calm down. I'm going to let you just release some fucking steam while I tell everybody that Fractured Fortunes Volume 1 is now officially available. You can find it on DriveThruRPG. I would ask you to yeah, I was going to say I would ask you, Corey, to put the image on to OBS, but please don't fuck with anything on OBS for the rest of the stream. Instead, I would ask you, the viewer, to check out the link that we have in the description for this stream. I also have them available for listening on YouTube if you want to preview them before you actually download them. However, we do have this whole audio set available completely free. It is the very first item that we have produced as TGS Games, and so we are very, very excited to bring it to you. I feel like I had more. Oh, there is actually a little bit more. We are in the very early stages of building a website for ourselves. We'll have more on that as it develops. We're kind of in the very early stages of talking about what all this website is going to include. I mean, what you can expect to see from it. I'm working on like some tabletop related blog post ideas right now that I've been kind of tossing around in my head for a long time. So I'm sure that that'll probably be a small part of it. But we're slowly in the process of kind of centralizing our whole operation, which I'm very excited about.
I can do graphic design. Fuck. God damn it.
You do really good graphic design. Like, it's...
I know. Okay. I'll do it. It's fine. I like working. I do.
And I don't know, Corey, is that all the announcements? I don't know if I missed anything.
I mean, I'm printing a Chris knife from David Lynch's 1984 Dune right now.
Are you really?
Yeah, dog. I found a file for it online, and I was like, "Guts to have one of those."
Is it like full size?
Yeah, dog.
Oh fuck, that's gonna be kick ass.
I got a big printer.
Yeah, Corey got a 3D printer, and we talked about that a little bit last week. I don't know, Corey, if you don't even have like initial designs for like what our first minis and stuff are going to be, right?
Oh no, I got to get way deeper into 3D modeling before we're at that stage.
Yeah. I had assumed that was the case, but I didn't know for sure.
I did get a curing lamp, and it's comically small because I didn't check the dimensions when I bought it. but it's okay for right now. I mean, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
So Taylor, we had homework.
We did.
I did 5.
I saw you added a bunch, and like I did not. I literally did the homework, and then that was it for me.
I give myself extra credit points.
Congratulations. Hope
Thank
you enjoy all that extra credit.
I will spend it on ice cream.
I mean, that's what I would have spent mine on. But yeah, so we gave ourselves a little bit of homework. We decided to add two feats each, which turns out now to be 7, to the provinces. We wanted to beef that section up a little bit. We're going to do the same thing over the course of the next week, but for right now, we're going to tell you what we came up with. So let me see here. It doesn't look like we added anything to Croaker. I know I did one in Dealer.
Hit me with it, baby.
Let's talk this out. Your silver tongue has gotten you out of more than one close shave. When attempting to resolve a combat before it breaks out with a negotiable opponent, i.e., you can't like negotiate with a monster.
Yeah.
Reroll 1 die of your choosing.
Yeah, that's cool. Simple.
And actually, I think the next one is going to be mine too, because it was for the rope walker. That is the piercing dagger. Although you may not wield the strongest weapons, your precision with small weapons allows you to easily find the weakness in your opponent's armor. At the start of combat, one target of your selection must make a TV. I forgot what we used. I said TN2 check because I'm in L5R mode right now.
That.
Yeah. If they fail, reduce their armor nodes by 2 for the remainder of the combat. What?
Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. For the remainder of the combat, if they get no successes, that weakness carries over the next time you face them in the field of battle.
So I think that this is fine, but I think that also like it moves into territory that I wanted to bring up, which is okay. I wonder if we should do full stat blocks like a lot of games do for NPCs. I was wondering if there was a way we could simplify stat blocks for NPCs.
But we absolutely need to simplify stat blocks for NPCs.
Yeah, like if we could like bake down all NPC stats into like 3 stats or something, and then just which I mean, essentially, I think this would do the same thing. It's something I wanted to bring up. Like if we're going to.
No, I completely agree with that. I just said a DTV 2, just basically whatever check you do, you need 2 successes, because I want to say we determined that was the average. Again, that might be me just being in L5R mode.
I just meant like the conversation of armor nodes. I don't know if armor nodes are going to apply to enemies because like...
Okay, I see what you're saying.
If we bake down their stats into their core relevancies, like... But, I mean, I think it essentially does the same thing. Like, reduce whatever their protective stat is, you know? Or their combat stat, or however you want to name it.
I'm just going to put a note there then. So, NPCs may not have armor nodes. Reduce armor accordingly.
Or you could, like, just go the other way and, like, double your damage, or however you want to do it.
Sure. I mean, however that works. I mean, it sounds like we'll need to make NPC stat blocks and what those look like before we can make that determination. So I'm just basically putting a note here that however it works, that's how it works.
There's a million ways to skin a cat. I wish there wasn't, Todd. I wish you wouldn't say stuff like that.
Hey, Todd, I didn't need to know about the one.
Let me tell you about all the ways I've skinned a cat. I mean, you can skin a cat.
Yeah, you can chill out with all that shit.
So the next 3 are me. Because I fucked up Shepard last time, so I decided to make Shepard legit this time. Because I basically just made 3 mother ones last time, which we should probably move these into the mother category. But that's neither here nor there. The first one is called A Friend Indeed. Oh sure, it takes all types in Eba. All types of vagrants, miscreants, thieves, and ne'er-do-wells, that is. Behind every corner is a friend, and behind every friend is a knife. Excluding, of course, your friendly shepherd. Just about the only soul in Eba you can trust, a shepherd has always got your back. As a reaction, a shepherd may apply armor nodes to an adjacent willing target. These armor nodes are vulnerable and can only resist half as much damage. So, you sacrifice your armor nodes to protect a friend right next to you.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, cool. So, one sec. You can supply armor nodes to an adjacent willing target. We need something in here. So what you're saying is that literally, like, Shepherd has 8 armor nodes, the person next to them has 3 armor nodes, and the Shepherd takes 2 of their 8 and gives it to the guy with 3, and then now the Shepherd has 6 and the guy has 5?
Yeah.
Okay. So then I want to make sure we need to make it clear. I like your note about the armor nodes are vulnerable, but we don't make it clear in the text of the feat that the shepherd actually loses whatever they...
I can do that.
Whatever they...
reduce...
reducing their total count. Like, that's...
your armor nodes by X and add X armor nodes to the
target.
And then how I wanted to make this was so that it could increase as you got better, was that these armor nodes are vulnerable and that they will... So, like, it's essentially you're giving them 2 of your armor nodes, but you're really giving them 1 because it will reduce quicker on them.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Like, it's a very cool thing. And are we putting any kind of a limit on how many nodes you can give? Or, like, the shepherd theoretically can give all their armor nodes away?
You could give all of them, you just don't have them anymore.
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it's a smart idea. I was curious if there was a limit.
No, I mean, like, I think it's self-limiting in that way. Like, you have these resources. If you give them up, great. You don't have them anymore, though.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
So the next one's called Bolstered Bulwark.
Yep.
Friends are great. A community, even better. And nothing more true could be said about Eba, caravans, or your comrades in a pedal. But you know what's even better? Your own hide. Because at the end of the day, who else do you have but yourself? If you have to skin a little off the top to keep the old ticker turning, what's the harm, really? It all comes out in the wash and they'll hardly notice, right? When using Bolstered Bulwark, you may remove 2 die from the caravan pool, the upkeep cost of which has to be paid as normal. Roll the first die to determine X amount of rounds, and the second to determine Y amount of nodes. Apply these to your armor nodes for X rounds or until combat ends.
Oh, fuck. This has so much potential to ruin the entire caravan. I love this.
Hell yeah. Because you could get a ton of armor nodes from that.
Yeah, you could, like, I mean, you could get, theoretically, I mean, you could, fuck.
Yeah, you could get 12. But, like...
And, like, if you're playing, like, a corrupt, like, shepherd or whatever, fuck, man, you could, like, that has a ton of potential to, like, turn the entire game on its end. I don't hate it, and I actually think we should keep it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just mean.
It's very mean.
Yeah. It's
very mean. Very good.
It's just got a lot of upside and a lot of potential for, like, inter-party, like, breakdown, which I think is kind of fun.
Yeah. Hang on.
Hell yeah. Yoda!
Buddy, there's nothing there, man.
Don't listen to him, Yoda. There's ghosts.
You're just insane.
That's all.
You are.
That's all that's wrong.
You are. You're just a dumb dog. Yeah, I don't know what I really want there.
You don't want it to be mean.
I mean, here's my concern.
Yeah.
Okay, our whole game is about community and working together, and like one of the things that we said in like our 20 questions was like we punish people for going against that idea of community. This doesn't. I don't know if this does that.
Well, so here's the thing. It does punish you for going against community because if you're not on board, if everyone's not on board with this, you can, like you said, totally fuck shit up.
Yeah.
But say you're facing down some giant mechanized crab boss, you know, where you need a tank.
Dude, stop. Please stop. There's nothing there.
You need a tank to like really keep the fight going, keep everyone in the fight. And it also like goes into the thing we were talking about with like the weird interconnectivity of these feats. Like, okay, I take bolster bulwark and I roll a fucking 12. Sick. That's going to be an expensive upkeep die, but guess what, Taylor?
Yeah.
We're facing off against a boss, and I also had a friend indeed, and I can share these armor nodes with the party and keep everyone going.
I mean, you can. You can also, like, what I'm saying is if you are a selfish player, it also just gives you the ability to just steal from the caravan and take everyone's shit and make yourself invincible.
It makes you invincible for only a certain amount of time, though, because once you get to the downtime phase, once we get to the caravan phase, you're going to have to pay that shit back. And you have to pay it back you get paid from the same source as everyone else.
That is true. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I guess you only have the armor nodes for a certain number of rounds. So, I mean, you can't make yourself permanently invincible or anything like that.
No, it stays for a certain amount of rounds or until combat ends. So if combat ends, like, unceremoniously before, guess what? You wasted resources. And this is what we were talking about with, like, we want to keep that nice edge. Like, we have to have these draws to spend resources. Like, this is going to be a big draw to spend resource. And I just think it's kind of dope.
No, I mean, I think that when you put it that way, it makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I know that's going to be a feat that's going to spark a lot of table talk.
Yeah.
Which I guess also that was one of the things we said we wanted when we did the 20 questions for this game.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Next one.
This one's called Feedback Loop. The life of a Vault Peddler isn't all action, combat, and dire straits. In fact, a big portion of it is fixing things that have been subjected to said action, combat, and dire straits. Unfortunately, between the widespread and inconsistent settlements of Iba, and given the baseline revelry of your average caravan, there aren't a lot of resources to go around for the day-to-day responsibilities. Enter the Shepherd. Not just for protecting your body, a shepherd can keep the caravan intact too. Granted, it's not always the prettiest fix, but it'll work in a pinch. A shepherd who has selected this feat may use 2 armor nodes to succeed automatically on a repair roll. These may be repurchased during downtime phases for 2 petty coin apiece. They will not refill at any other time or without cost. So, if you spend these before a run, you just go in without those armor nodes. You can only get them back at the next downtime phase. And if you don't buy them back at that downtime phase, you're still down them until the next downtime phase.
Okay.
Oh yeah, price obviously may need to be adjusted.
Yeah, I figured that wasn't even something we really needed to talk about because we've talked before about how we're just kind of using
stock numbers,
placeholder, placeholder amounts right now.
I mean, it all comes down to how common Pettycoin is.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no, I'm putting it here because eventually we will have to determine that, and I want to be able to go back through and just look through the notes and be like, this is where we have stuff involving like Pettycoin costs.
I actually think I might know what your issue might be with this, and I want to, and I actually bring it up on the next one that I come up on.
Okay. Fixing things that have been subjected to said action, combat, and dire straits. Let's see here. A lot of resources go around daily responsibilities. Your body. Shepherd can keep the caravan intact too. Granted, it's not always the prettiest fix, but it'll work in a pinch. So, okay. So here's my question.
Yeah.
With me, it's always all about the narrative. A feat needs to make sense in the narrative.
Yeah.
Now, mechanically, you are trading armor nodes to succeed automatically on a repair roll. In the narrative, what does this look like? I mean, you're literally like stripping off a piece of your armor and like plastering it to
That's
like a caravan vehicle, or like.
I mean, I don't even think it has to be just caravan stuff, but yeah, that was my thinking. You're using like your own personal shit in order to patch something together and get it. You're jury rigging something is the idea.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like using your own personal resources, abstracting the idea of armor nodes as just shit that's on you that's protecting you.
Okay. Let's see here. Two armor nodes to succeed automatically on a repair roll. I don't know. I mean, like, there's nothing that immediately sticks out to me. What's the thing that you have in mind?
Oh, I was going to talk about downtime phases, but I'll get to that in the next one that I have.
Okay, gotcha. Is it just because we haven't really detailed what downtime phases look like?
Yeah, like the whole mechanization aspect of them.
Yeah, fair.
So what's your next one? You had 3, right? Oh no, you had 2.
No, our homework was 2. I
Yeah,
just did 2.
That's fair.
Like a normal person.
No. Never. So the next one I did is for the spoiler, because I love the spoilers.
Fence, the finger, and the golden eye. I love this shit.
So
It's already a yes.
This one's called The Fence, the Finger, and the Golden Eye. Nobody knows better than you. They just don't know it. Those grubby peddlers just can't seem to see the importance and virtue of wealth like you can. And honestly, they couldn't make it there without your help and connections. So, if they don't want to listen to you, if they don't want to listen, you could just do it for them. They'll be thanking you when the caravan is on the golden road. So I kind of wanted to instill like little like faction religions and stuff. I like the idea of like the golden road being like a maybe like an in-universe peddler religion or something. But a spoiler with this feat may exchange caravan resources for petty coin. Choose either. Roll 1 caravan resource and take the resulting value 1-to-1 as petty coin. This returns at the next downtime phase at no cost. Or you may exchange caravan resources 1-to-1 for petty coin. These resources return at the downtime at no cost. So you could either trade 1 die for 1 petty coin, or you could take the gamble and roll a die and get that many petty coin. You can only do this once during a downtime phase, and that's where it brings me to, oh, hey, where'd it go? Aw, I wrote a thing.
What's up?
I had a note. It's gone now. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Okay, my note was we need to talk about downtime phases and the fact that we haven't talked about the mechanization aspects of them so that groups can't like be like, okay, I did 2 things. That's 2 downtime phases. No, downtime phases need to be broken up by the caravan doing something in which you can spend caravan resources. Whether that be going to town and making deals or whether that be like doing an actual pedal, we can discuss, but like it needs to be, you can't just do 2 downtime phases in a day. If they're connected like that, I think it's still the 1 downtime phase. And I might even go further to say that like if you're negotiating and then coming back, that would be the same downtime phase.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I have the option of either rolling a caravan resource and whatever I roll, I get that many petty coin.
Yep.
Or I can just exchange the caravan resources 1 for 1.
Yep.
Why would I ever not roll?
Because you can only do this once a downtime phase, and if you roll and get a 1, that's it. But if you need petty coin in a pinch, like, and you need it and it needs to be a sure thing, Guess what? If we
Right.
spend 4 of these die, we're going to get 4 petty coin, and we need that to get this resource running.
Okay, but here's the thing: if I roll those 4 caravan resources,
Sorry.
I'm gonna get at least 4, or I'm gonna get at least a 1 on each of those rolls,
No.
that would be the exact same thing, right?
Then we need to write this in. You can only roll 1 die. You take the gamble by rolling 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Now I get it.
Yeah.
Now I got you.
Yeah. You take the gamble by rolling 1 or the sure thing.
Okay. No, because that even then you're still gonna. Okay, so hang on. So I can trade at a 1-for-1 level, but if I'm just doing the straight 1-for-1, then that means I can use as many caravan resources as I want. If I want to use like 20 resources and just straight exchange them for petty coin, then I end up with 20 petty coin, right?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so that just needs to be reworded a little bit.
Yeah, do you want to type it in?
Yeah, hang on one sec. So this can be done in any amount that the group agrees to. Let me see here. Caravan resource. I think that's good as it is, right?
Yeah. Roll
Yeah, so
1.
just
Yeah. I mean, I think
One
roll
car-
1 qualifies it there, right?
yeah, I feel like that's right. I just needed to be clear that with the exchanging just straight up that you can do that any number that you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, no, that makes sense. Okay, cool. I do agree, though, downtime mechanization is something that we probably need to spend like a full session on. Just because, yeah.
I think it's important to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of the big things that we talked about in like both of our 20 questions answers. I mean, we focused a lot on the idea of really maximizing the idea of downtime.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Did you have another one, or was that it?
Yeah, so the other one isn't a starting one, because we are going to have feats eventually for attributes and skills. I did a skill feat.
All right, cool.
It's for traversal.
Traversal. Hang on one sec. Let me get up there. Attributes and skills. Oh, where'd you put it?
Right at the very top, above species.
Very top above species. Above like character creation?
In the feats section.
Feats section. Oh, hang on. Here it is. Okay, yeah, long hauler.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
This ain't your first rodeo. You've seen the Great Walls of... Sorry.
Please continue.
You've seen the Great Walls of Ishtos, the free-flowing plasma mines of Vigil, and the Serpent Run of Orod, and frankly, it's all a little showy. They like to shout about hard times, but you're not sure they've ever seen them. A real caravan long hauler like you've seen hard times and you know how to scrape by when the petty coin are down. Not like these city dwellers. If something breaks, you can make it work all right, at least until it really breaks. During downtime, you may remove 1 caravan resource from disrepair. Put a token on it. The next time this resource needs its upkeep value paid, you do so at double the cost.
Okay, yeah, I like that a lot. I also like that you built in universe truckers.
Yeah.
But yeah, no issues with that. I think that's a really great like big reward and like big penalty for using it. So like I think it's got a lot of balance to it. Now it is already 8 o'clock. Corey, do you want to start tackling Caravan tonight?
We gotta start talking about it. I feel like we're avoiding it.
We are avoiding. I'm actively avoiding it. Tell you what. Let's go over what we have right now in Caravan dice mechanics, and let's spend the last little bit of this just kind of going through what we have right now, and maybe we can use that as kind of a springboard as far as where we want to go. Does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't even know where the caravan section is.
It's actually got its own section. Caravan dice mechanics. We've already got some stuff on caravan resources, caravan advancement. We actually have a little bit, I think, on world economy, but it's not much. So
is this going to be like when we read back on the crazy things we wrote before?
I'm pretty sure it is, but honestly, that's maybe the best place to start, and then we can like kind of go from there. Okay, so what we have right now. As the caravan grows, the players gather resources associated with it. As the contract is signed and the players begin their expedition, they arrange these resources in a collective dice pool that is available to players throughout play.
All good so
Caravan
far.
Caravan resources are represented with additional die that add dice total, which must be spent before the player makes any roll if they're going to be spent at all. It cannot be spent on feats since they don't count as action points. Corey, is there any issue with that?
I don't understand that last sentence, I guess.
Okay, that is reassuring to me because neither do I.
Cool. Let's remove
I don't know
it.
what that means. I'm gonna strike that bad boy out.
Yeah, I found one issue. I don't know what that is.
No, I figured you would know, and I was like, hey, is that good? I was trying to be cool about it.
Corey, so I
don't know
noticed a
what
little something. Why don't you tell me what you noticed? So
I have some thoughts, but I'm curious to see what you think.
Oh, I made a $5,000 whoopsie at work.
Oh no. That's not good.
Whoopsie!
Oops. A real whoopsie doodle, folks.
I'm all Butterfingers over here.
I'm all $5,000 worth of Butterfinger.
Yo, that would be sick. Hold on, let's talk about $5,000 worth of Butterfingers.
$5,000 of Butterfingers. That is so many bathtubs full of Butterfingers.
I like that that's your immediate measurement metric.
I'm an American, damn it. I'll be damned if I have to switch to the metric system.
As everyone knows.
I measure my goods in bathtubs full of Butterfingers. Ain't nothing that can change.
Well,
that.
no, I mean it makes sense because like the metric system uses liters, and we use bathtubs for volume.
Yeah, exactly. What's the Simpsons joke? It's like an empty skull, an empty cow skull.
It's cool, sick, fucking dope. Okay, keep reading, baby.
So yeah, they are shared by the team as a shared resource, which dwindles as the game goes on. For that reason, players must come to some level of consensus about when these resources are going to be used. So actually, let me just pause right there for real quick. With your with the shepherd feat that you had, that I was worried about, like, oh, that's like potentially like a game breaking thing.
We've already talked about this.
Well, but does the player need to get the other player's consent before they remove that stuff from the caravan?
We've talked about this. Feats always supersede rules as written. So we have stock rules, and then your feats are always going to override that because by their nature, feats do special things.
Okay. Unless directly mentioned a feat or other special rule.
I mean, and I think that's pretty standard, like, parlance. Like, D&D does the same thing, Pathfinder does the same thing. Like, you have regular rules, and then guess what? My feat does this.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure that, especially if we're going to make a hardline iron rule about that we have the rule completely everywhere it would be mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the basic idea. And I have, except for our sentence that makes no fucking sense whatsoever, I have really no issues with that. That is the general conceit of the caravan. As far as the mechanics work,
Yeah.
That I've been working on the assumption of. Okay, so now we're going to go into Corey's new rambling. We both came up with ideas. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's read both of these. So your idea was A simplified array of stats. We gave community, presence, purpose, and arms. Each starts with a base level of 0, derived by each player picking up an attribute at character creation, representing which of these 4 stats they bring to the caravan.
Okay.
And then there's a big crossed out sentence that I guess I'm gonna skip.
We said no to it right then.
Yeah, so I assume that's not good. Paints what the caravan is, but it also makes it subject to change. Maybe NPCs don't vibe with the type of caravan you made. Okay, so before we move on, so each starts with a base level of 0, and the numbers are then derived by each player picking an attribute at character creation.
So here's what it's...
Oh, I remember what it was. Yeah. Go ahead, and you can explain.
It's saying that each attribute would have a level of community presence, purpose, or arms. You pick what you want to represent in the caravan, and then that is the score for community presence, purpose, or arms.
Right, and it also informs what that thing. So, like, for example, if you pick like brutality for community,
yeah,
like that your community is like a very like raucous, very tough, like kind of marauder type of community, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I mean, there's elements of it I like. There's elements of it I think that could be potential problems. But like I'm a sucker for like a tag system like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a neat idea for sure. Okay, and then my rambling, which I took down the same day. We start with the same like simplified array of stats. I only picked 3, which I guess made sense to me at the time. Each starts. I don't know why I decided purpose wasn't there. I guess I felt like the others covered it.
Fuck purpose.
Fuck purpose. Purpose is nothing. Each starts with a base level of 0. Ranks increase as players increase their stats during character creation, with each level taken in core competencies adding to one of the presented stats as determined by the group together. That is the most Corey sentence I have ever written.
You wrote it!
I did! I made that. I'm disappointed in myself. What the fuck does that mean? Okay, ranks increase as players increase their stats during character creation. Each level taken in core competencies.
My brain tumor!
Adding to one of the presented stats. What have you done to me?
You did this! This isn't
I was a normal boy before I met you.
Elst Dragoon's here, and we need to catch him up on the caravan system and what it is.
Oh dear God.
So the caravan system, Elst Dragoon, welcome by the way. Unless you're gone now. I can't tell. I don't even know how to tell if people are in chat.
Who knows? The technology is... Oh, no, they're there.
Okay.
Done.
Okay, cool. So the caravan system is... So part of Vault Peddlers is the idea that you're building a roving caravan that is like your community. So as you develop, you pick feats for the caravan that like round out your community. Whether it be, as I normally suggest, a blacksmith, because that's the only thing I know of.
That's the only thing there is.
Or like an armsman, like improved quartermaster quarters, or things like this, like actual physical resources. And they have an associated die value. That die value, when you go on to like normal dungeon runs, gets thrown into a shared resource pool that anyone in the party can pick up a die from and roll to add to their dice roll for anything. And the idea is, as you go through the dungeon, this pile that you have in front of you starts to dwindle. The thing is, each of these resources has an upkeep cost associated with them. And if you don't pay that upkeep cost, it falls into disrepair, meaning you don't get it next time you go on a run. And if you keep not paying it, that resource just through degradation goes away, whether it be represented by your blacksmith, again, the only people who matter, leaving because you didn't take care of him, or the quartermaster's quarters falling apart because you spent too much money on other shit.
And then basically that also means that on your future runs, you of course don't get those resources to dip into. So it's kind of this constantly depleting thing that, like, if you don't constantly upkeep and maintain it, it cascades and totally collapses.
It's a lot like the D&D analog of henchmen, and even more as if your whole castle were moving with you, and were alive, and and there was giant mechanized crabs and laser guns.
Okay, we need to start on a new RPG like right now.
Why can't we have those things in here?
I fail to see why we can't. For now, I need to make sense of this garbage paragraph. Corey, I'm sorry, I need to get back to this. What did you do to me?
I don't know.
I was a normal kid.
You wrote nonsense there.
This is nothing. Okay, I'm going to start this again. So we start with the simplified array of stats, community presence and arms.
That's fine.
That's fine. Each one starts with a base level of 0. That makes sense. Ranks increase as players increase their stats during character creation, with each level taken in core competencies, adding to one of the presented stats. So, for example, I'm trying my best to present this as a rational argument.
I'm hitting like 3 Gs right now of just my face is like...
So that basically means for every level you took in like Biologica, right, you add it to community, and that's basically how that works. And then all of these things are added with each of the group. So, for example, player 1 has like a 3 in Biologica, player 2 has a 2 in Biologica, player 3 has like a 5 in Biologica. We're looking at like a total of 10. So these numbers, once determined, relate to a die type closest to the number rounded down. So in this example, we had a total of 10. That would round down to it would just be a D10. But if it was a 9, it would round down to a D8. If it was a 14 or a 15 or a 16, it would round down to a D12. No attribute can use the same die type if the determined numbers equal the same die type. For example, we get like 2 14s. Then one of them goes down to the next available die type plus an additional feat of the party's choice for each die type dropped. They will then assign a narrative tag to these attributes: domineering, furtive, practical, or strange, which is then also assigned to the stat they combined with that attribute. Okay. There's some stuff in here I like.
It goes back to...
There's some stuff in here I fucking hate.
I wish you could see my face right now. It goes back to when you weirdly got into the idea of derived statistics.
Yeah. I think this is where that popped up first, actually.
So, here's a couple things. At its base level, we don't have core relevancies anymore.
Yeah. That is the core issue, really, is that we kind of determined we weren't doing core relevancies.
I just think it's too complicated, too.
Yeah, I think it needs to just be more streamlined. I don't hate the idea of, like, taking an associated number from each of the party members and then adding them up and then, like, rounding down to the nearest die type. That actually, I think, is the strongest thing. But as to what those numbers actually might be, I think that your system actually might make more sense there.
Yeah, here's the thing. I think there's an easier way to do this.
Okay.
We can have whatever our stat array is, and then have feats that have like numbers associated with those different stats. So like fucking for the idea of a blacksmith, it has a 3 in arms and a 1 in community and a 0 in purpose and a 0 in presence. So when you take this feat, you buy this feat, you get to do whatever the blacksmith does for you and it adds to those adds to that stat. You know, it's just like whatever feats you buy make up the level of your stats.
Okay. So whatever feats you buy make up your stats. Okay, well, so I guess that my issue there is that, I mean, how are we going to quantify these feats though? Because a lot of these feats are inherently or qualitative. Um, like, is it like the number of like level 1 feats, or it's like level numbers for all of your feats added up?
I was gonna say it's both qualitative and quantitative. I would say that like the feat does a qualitative thing for you, and it also. And here's the thing, like maybe we don't even need a stat array for the caravan. Maybe we just need a tag system for it. Like, and maybe even then we don't need it. I don't know. Like, the feats themselves doing qualitative things and having the die pool as a mechanized thing, like that seems like enough. Unless we're doing like a wargaming thing where it's you're moving your caravan against another caravan and like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even think we need a stat array for it.
Huh. I'm torn because I really, in theory, like the idea of having a stat array. I really like the idea of having like these hard numbers, and like as you can actually watch them sort of deplete. I'm worried that a tag system is going to make the caravan just a lot more kind of abstract and kind of inherently sort of pushed to the background.
Well, I mean, like I don't know if it. See, I feel like a tag system like colors the kind of caravan you are. But
Yeah.
maybe that like comes through in narrative. I don't know. Like Elstragoon just brings it up. He's like, "What do we do? What are we doing with those stats?" And that's the big question, because if we have a stat array, and I can't think of an answer really of what we'd be doing with them other than just having a stat array.
Well, I mean, the stat array does that not directly apply to like how high your stat is like the number of dice that you have on the table as you play?
No, because I thought each individual feat adds a polyhedral die to your like the caravan's cook at a D4 adds that to your die pool, so you have a D4 to bring in with you.
A single D4?
Yeah, I mean he's just a cook.
He's just a cook, but like how many? So now the question is, we're not going to have a set like that. Okay, so my issue here is now we're moving away from like having a stat block or having a stat array. But we're moving to this thing where each resource that the caravan has just only offers a single die. So instead of having a stat array where we have like community presence and arms, now we're going to have a cook, a baker, a blacksmith, a tailor, a weaver, or whatever, and all of them have like a single die that they add to the table. I mean, that's so much more to keep track of than just having a stat array with
Well, I mean, like,
sort of
so here's
varying levers.
yeah, but the varying I don't know. Like to me, it seems like if you buy a feat that does something qualitative for the table, like you can't abstract that, or else you lose the whole point of like building a community. The whole idea of building a community is that we have all these bits that add up to build a community. So we have our favorite, like in the case we were talking about, our favorite cook. If we don't pay the upkeep on that, we lose our cook. Now we lost something narratively because we all enjoyed the scenes we had with the cook.
Well, but what even is the upkeep though? I mean, if you're working literally on just a tag system, you have nothing quantifiable.
No. We did,
to even say what that is.
We did talk about upkeep in a. I don't know if this is further down, but like each of the. Okay, yeah, here we go. Boy, more rambling. No, so the idea being that like each feat that you buy, because let's break it down into its core concept, right? Vault Peddlers is a game that is about interwoven feats.
Okay.
When we're talking about the Caravan System, it's the same thing. It's interwoven feats. It's just on a different scale. On this scale, we're talking about building a community. Each of these feats represents something within the community, whether it be improved quarters for everybody, a blacksmith, a cook. These are parts of your community that they improve.
Really quick, hang on. Where are you reading this off of?
Oh,
Where
I'm
this?
talking. I'm talking right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Never mind. Go ahead.
So breaking it down, like it's the same thing, different scale, right? Each of those feats that you buy comes associated with either an array of polyhedral die if they're super strong. Like if we have a big crab cannon, that's probably worth more resource-wise than like than a cook, who is probably worth a D4. But if we spend those die, whatever they may be, and I mean, this is why we're talking about the Caravan System in general right now, we have to pay an upkeep cost as we return from the Vault Pedal. Which sounds weird when you say Vault Pedal. You have to pay the upkeep cost. If you don't pay the upkeep cost, which is what we talked about with whatever you make from the run, you have to dump back into the caravan and then split amongst the party. So if you don't make the money in order to pay the upkeep costs, then that feat falls into disrepair. If you keep not paying that, then you lose it, right? We've talked about this.
Yeah, that's the general conceit of upkeeping the caravan, but the question really at hand here is how much does it cost for upkeep? And like what I'm trying to get at here is like,
oh, you think it's too fiddly?
Yeah, the tag system, if we go with it, I don't have an issue with a tag system for the caravan. I think that can be really helpful on a GM side, especially as far as like determining morale and the people that live within it. Like, let's take your crab cannon, for example. The players get really desperate on a run and they use up like those resources. They blow those like D8s or whatever they are. What's the cost of getting it back if it's all based on this feat? I mean, does that mean we have to go back through all of our feats and talk about like, well, okay, so this is maybe like this adds this much to the caravan?
Maybe the answer's right there. Polyhedral die are in steps, right? So maybe maybe it's a flat tiered cost. Like a D12 feat costs this much to upkeep. You spent this many D12s during the run, so you have to pay this much petty coin to get those back, or else these things fall into disrepair. So that way it's not fiddly. We just have an associated... It's just tiered. D4's upkeep costs this much. D6 upkeep costs this much. D8 upkeep costs this much. And then all the feats are tiered on a polyhedral system. So this is a D4 feat. This is a D6 feat. This is a D8 feat.
So we do need to go back and go through all of the feats that we've been making and decide what rank they are.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I think when we're talking about caravan feats, I think that they're a different set of feats, right? Like, it doesn't make sense that...
it's a whole new set of feats.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that, like, my golden finger, golden eye, and whatever... Well,
that was going to be my next thought, is, like, a lot of these don't have any bearing on... like a community thing, like they are expressly individual.
Like this is where we're talking about like building an actual community. Elstragoon, I'm sorry, I'm not ignoring.
We apologize.
Hey, it's a global feat system.
Let me have one more go at this really quick. Sorry.
Yes.
What's the most important thing in the caravan? Like the most... can't live without it, or like if you didn't have it, it would cripple you. What is it?
People? I don't know.
Oh, here's my thought. What if we had a tool, right, that is based on like D12 to D4, based on just importance to the community. Right? Whether that's like a good example is like maybe a D12 is one of the provinces that are NPCs, right? So, like for example, let's say your party doesn't have a reckoner, but like one of the NPCs is a reckoner. So that would be a really fucking important NPC. That would be somebody that like would die, right, if you didn't have that reckoner with you. And what if we went through like D10, D8, D6, determining importance of that, and then we can just figure out like how many of these things you start with based on like these feats? I don't know.
I
think that the thing that I'm
I
just
think
struggling with is
go on.
I think that the thing I'm just struggling with is this feels incredibly abstract and not as concrete as the whole rest of the game is. Like this feels like we're playing two games to me.
So here's what I'm saying. I'm saying that like I think having the actual feats, having an actual qualitative thing that they do. I think it's because we're trying to break down the mechanics before we have things written. But like if we break down the feats and their qualitative like items, and maybe this goes into our conversation about downtime too. Like what downtime means is going to be based on these qualitative feats. Like okay, we could do cool things with these during downtime to increase the like maybe if you have a blacksmith you can repair items, maybe if you have a bookkeeper you could like do something with petty coin. I think that like having the actual feats written out as actual things in a community instead of just trying to break them down into like what makes them what they are. I see. I get what you're saying, but I think that we're trying to get there by abstracting more. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. I don't disagree with that. My issue is I think that's a bad strategy.
No, I do too. Here's the thing. I think we just tier everything on a polyhedral dice system, tie an upkeep level to the polyhedral die. And have that be the payment in petty coin for when you come back after using a resource. Then we just create the community members, whatever those may be, or whatever the object may be, as feats that you buy together to increase your caravan. We have to make them qualitative, and we have to seat them in the fiction to make them feel like a part of the game and make them feel concrete. And then you work on buying them together, and you build your community. And they can likely have like actual use within like going to visit cities, doing negotiations, things like that. I think we're approaching it the wrong way, but I think we're trying to get we're trying to work from the mechanics up, and maybe we need to like look at what makes the community.
Dragoon, I completely agree that this is probably something that's going to come out more in playtesting.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that is the case. Are they luxuries? I don't actually know. The whole idea with what the caravan like does for like your everyday session is that this is actually going to be something where like if you're in a tight spot, you have a pool of dice that you can pull from to increase your likelihoods of success, or worst case scenario, increase your chances of survival. So I would say it's more important than just luxuries. Like this is supposed to be a pretty central component of the game.
Yeah.
Which I think is why I'm pushing back on this a little bit harder than I normally do. I don't hate the idea of different die types have different upkeep costs. And shit, Corey, before we figure out caravan stuff, we may need to figure out petty coin.
Yeah.
We may need to figure out what this thing is worth so that we can determine those upkeep costs. I don't know. Like,
I mean, this is what we were talking about when we were talking about this game becoming more and more of a game. Like, there are a lot of bits moving, and you can't touch one lever without moving one pulley. Like, and that is going to be the case. Bunch of player classes. Are you saying that you always have a full? No, you don't always have a full party.
You don't always have one.
But Taylor was suggesting maybe you could have a very expensive feat that is like
Exactly.
having a full another party member in. But then again, I think even that this is where we get into trouble with like abstracting, because we are attempting to abstract a lot of things in this game. Like we are abstracting the idea of weapons to just being like, okay, you can have whatever weapon you want as long as it like fits this size parameter, a la fucking Cyberpunk Red.
Right.
And then beyond that, like everything else is based on feats. Like what makes a magic weapon is, well, I have a magic weapon that has a feat on it. The feat is only activated with petty coin, which brings me to my other point, Elstragoon, which is we've abstracted meta currency to be actual currency as well, which is fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be a thing. Okay.
So, I don't know. I think the idea of like having qualitative feats that are tiered on a polyhedral die system like is a good idea. I think it simplifies the upkeep management of it. But again, I'm thinking mechanics, right? Well, I'm sort of thinking in the fiction too. It's just it's hard to think in the fiction when we're not like looking at it how to play it.
Yeah. I like it. It goes back to Elstragoon's earlier comment about playtesting. I mean, it's definitely one of those things that maybe we're making this more difficult than it needs to be, and maybe this like we just need to get something on the board right now and like move forward with a playtest, and then we can kind of go from there.
Maybe
I have also not heard of this game.
I do like the idea.
Sounds neat.
They give an interesting way that you built your army and fleet out of ships that were worth points. You battled someone with the same point total, but you could come up short on points and then add like a 2-point captain to a boat, which would let it move in about. Yeah, I mean these are essentially the ideas that we have, like the same kind of abstraction to actual value.
Lost to passengers. Each also took up a cargo space, which sucked.
Catch someone on fire if you hit them. So I mean these are the kinds of things I think we need to do with the feats. Like maybe it is a fucking explosives expert. What does that mean for us, like having an explosives expert in your caravan? Like
right.
Maybe we need to think about like actual mechanical benefits, like beyond just the die that it adds, because maybe there's more pull that way.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of that, like the idea of feats being qualitative outside of just downtime phases. Like, we get to spend petty coin within a run to use an explosive. And now if we don't pay that upkeep, maybe that's a D10, whatever, but we spend a D10 during the run, we don't pay that back. Okay, the fucking archivist chooses which ones go into disrepair if you don't pay them, and he chooses that. So it's like, okay, now we know next time we go through a run, we need to pay an explosives expert, or else we don't get explosives anymore, and we like those.
Or worst case, or even worse, they stay and they just do a shitty job repairing the explosives.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that brings another idea of like degree.
As GM Big Brain.
Various things in your caravan. You can reconfigure it in town or whatever. What if you combine player? Well, actually, so we've kind of already done that. Like, the idea is that like after a run, like your resources have to pass through the filter of the caravan first. Like, you have to pay your upkeep costs before anyone gets anything else to spend. The idea is that like bookkeeping would be center of the table as well, instead of individual and fiddly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like the mechanics of what we're trying to do, like the core competency is there. It's just like we're getting to this is something we knew was going to be complicated going in. We knew this was going to be hard, and we knew that like we were going to have issues developing this. I don't think
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure from day one we said that this was going to be one of the biggest challenges in making this game.
I mean, hence we are 9 months in without talking about it. I don't think we need a fucking. We don't need a stat array as I see it, unless we're having like meta battles with other caravans. I don't see the point in it.
Okay.
Just because like we've already broken that shit down. We have negotiation as a phase that goes on just with players. We have like so we have to have a way to elevate this. By the way, your tattoo looks phenomenal, dude.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
In a 4-hour session, how much time is dealing with the caravan? 10 minutes or 1 hour? So this is when we get, and maybe this is why we have to talk about downtime, because I think that like how much we mechanize downtime, how much we turn a narrative flair on downtime, and how much of it is just like hand waved whatever is going to determine how long you spend in a session on caravan stuff. Because, I mean, obviously you're in the middle of a run, say this goes a couple sessions. Like, yeah, during these couple sessions, you're probably not doing a lot of caravan stuff. How I would like to see it is at the beginning or end of an arc would be the idea that you deal with like a significant amount of caravan stuff.
Yeah. I would say if I was gonna try and put a desired time on it, I would say somewhere in the area of like 20 minutes. Like I don't want the caravan to be overwhelming to try and set up. I don't think I would want it to take an hour unless it like if it sparks like a really big debate at the table over like where resources need to go, then so much the better. I think that that's I personally find that to be like an engaging thing for players. But
Yeah.
on a regular everyday session, I would say my goal for what the caravan should be is like roughly 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about initially when we were creating this game, like around the fireside scenes and stuff, like, and I like the idea of that coming into play with the caravan, but I don't know how we get there necessarily, unless we have like end of session reward kind of shit. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, assume it's fun. Definitely. Otherwise, it shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah, no. And I do think it's fun. And this is like what we were talking about, like where the idea of this comes from, right? Is we both really like those moments in tabletop that are table talky. Like,
Yeah.
I think the initial idea was like heists. We like heist games on the table because they're fun. Because everyone's like, all right. Not it's just table talk right now. How are we going to approach this? Like, I like those moments.
One of the things that we said also in the 20 questions was a game that like kind of blends table talk and in fiction talk. So like that was one of the central ideas behind the whole central dice pool. It was the idea behind the central like caravan. So to answer your question, how important is it in your vision of the gameplay? Well, and Corey may have a different answer for this. So this actually is maybe a good question for both of us to answer. In my vision, it's incredibly important.
Yeah.
Like the health of the caravan directly determines like your ability to take contracts. It affects your ability to be approached by potential contractors to take on certain jobs. Like if you're not at a certain size or level or star rating or however that's going to work, you may not get like those big government jobs, right? With a lot of money and petty coin behind them. So in terms of how overwhelming do I want the maintenance and upkeep to be, I would say not as time consuming, but I do feel like the caravan is a central component. It is very important in terms of the overall game.
I mean, yeah, I think that this game is part community construction, and like, so I do want it to play an integral role, and I don't want it to become this thing that gets waylaid. And honestly, I think what's going on is we're coming from this at a place of we've been developing a lot of individual feats. We've been talking about provinces, we've been talking about species and character creation, and not talking about the another core principle of the game, which is like you all come together and build a community. So like We need to start talking about how these things interconnect, like, because I don't want to make like fucking there's a million D&Ds out there, and that's not fun to me.
Right.
Like, I want to make something that is interesting and fun and different, and I want community to play a big role in that, and that's what we both talked about. We want Table Talk to play a big role, like, so we need to I think we just need to reframe.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Corey, this actually maybe is a good time for us to talk about homework for this week. It sounds to me like both of us have pretty different ideas of, even if we have a similar goal, similar concept of what the caravan should be in the game, we have very differing ideas on how it should function and
Right.
how it mechanically should work. So how about this? Let's, you and me, spend the week making rough versions of what we want the caravan system to work with or work as, and let's continue the discussion next week. I mean, we're getting to a point where technically we've only been on stream for an hour. We did actually start at like 7, but we had a bunch of technical issues. What are we doing on Warhammer? I never played Warhammer.
He's talking about the role-playing game, not the
I also never played that Warhammer.
Neither did I, but I actually really like. Maybe that would be a neat concept for us to do.
You choose from. Use ex-military. Got stress tokens whenever the DM felt the party was arguing too much. Then each one had a track that triggered things when you got to different places on the track.
Ooh.
That's actually a really cool idea.
I wonder, maybe we should, let's get Warhammer Fantasy and run like a one-shot or something and see how that plays and see if that, like, does anything for us.
All right, yeah.
I
mean, we are coming up on like that once a month fun session, so that might be a good idea.
Yeah. Oh, Cannibal Halfling Games got a hold of me with the redux of their rules for Starlight Wreckage.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and he asked if we wanted it for the stream, and I said, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
That
shit is fun.
Elstragon, thank you, because I'm adding that to my collection of many, many RPG books.
So many.
I need them, I don't need to play them. Okay, so what's homework then?
Yeah, no, I think that this is something we should homework. I feel like we've ran from the idea of the caravan for long enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like right now in the conversation we are maybe hitting a wall where we both have very different ideas of what this is going to look like. And I think that I know that on my end, until I actually see your idea fleshed out on paper,
yeah,
I'm going to have a tough time accepting it. And I would do you the same courtesy, obviously. So let's go with that. Let's reapproach this next week. We'll continue the conversation on the caravan, and then the week after, hopefully, we can I don't know, move on. Yeah, play a one shot of something, or do a test play, or whatever it is. So yeah. Oh, Elstragoon, now that you are here, I'll just go ahead and let everybody.
Hold on. I didn't put it in the description because I didn't have the link.
Oh shit! Do you need me to give it to you?
Yeah, just put it right in the window here.
Yeah, one sec.
Type it on our page, our shared page.
Let's see here.
Smells like resin down here, dude.
Oh, that it fucking does. Okay, so I'm just gonna put this right there.
All right.
Elstragoon, and anybody else who may watch this in the future. We have our very first product that is out.
For free for download.
It is free for download. It is an album of tabletop music that I made for my L5R campaign that Corey and I are playing privately. We would stream it, but our players are not all on board with that. Nonetheless, we have produced this first volume. It contains 9 tracks. It is completely free. I will also, if you want to preview what's on here, I can also give you the YouTube link for that as well. Hang on one sec. Can you do me a favor and also post that into the chat?
The YouTube link?
Yeah. Because I don't think that drive-through gives you the ability to like preview tracks or anything like that. See all your guitars today. Yeah, no, so I've been making music for a really long time. I only recently moved into making like game music. But it's been super fun. I've had like a ton of fun like doing like orchestral and different sort of arrangements for stuff. So yeah, no, this is the first bit of game music that I've put out. Just to give you all kind of a basic idea of what this is. So I wrote this stuff for like the L5R campaign. It's very Eastern Asian influenced. It is 9 tracks that fit kind of all of the major tropes. Like you're going to find like upbeat moments. You're going to find tense investigations, perilous battles, pretty much anything that your standard GM could want just to fit general moods. Everything here is done using VSTs, virtual stringed instruments of authentic East Asian instruments like the kuzen, or the gujen, the koto, the eru. These are all classic instruments that you're going to find on pretty much any like Eastern Asian soundtrack. And in addition, everything is done in the same key, or like roughly the same key, which means that if you have like a fader, you can very easily like switch between these tracks and it doesn't feel super disjointed. It's something that I'm personally like very proud of. If you want to, check it out, if you want to download it, again, the tracks are completely free. And hopefully we will have more of them coming soon. But yeah, just wanted to do one last plug on that before we go.
I wonder if I can show the art I did.
Oh yeah, please do, because Corey made the art for this, and like, I don't know, I've gushed over like the art that you do multiple times. It's so badass. Like I don't know. You find this great way of like capturing this sort of like the general aesthetic of whatever it is you're trying to capture. And like what I love about this particular piece that you did do is like it's very much inspired by oh cool, we almost have it here. Just need to shrink it down.
I hate OBS.
She was just saying, or El Dragoon was just saying, like, oh, you guys are a good team.
Not me in OBS, though. OBS, like, loves fucking with me.
Yeah, OBS has Corey's number. It's the funniest fucking thing.
But yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'm not, like... visual art is pretty new to me. So...
There we go. No, I love this because it reminds me of like Japanese woodblock prints, and like it doesn't look exactly like that, but you've definitely like done such a great job at like capturing the sort of serenity and like the simplicity that comes with like this sort of Asian inspired art. It's just fucking cool, dude, and like I'm like stoked to have it like attached to my music. It's very cool.
I'm using Krita, and that's all really. I don't know. This is all very new to me. I decided I wanted a tablet, so I bought one, and I've been spending a lot of time in it. I've been doing a lot of 3D actually. I use CAD a lot at work, but we only do 2D stuff, so. Yeah.
No, we should actually find more excuses to like put your art up, because like he's also, by the way, done like some concept art for Vault Peddlers. that I've also like really enjoyed. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have like a cool little art gallery at some point on stream. That'd be fun.
Well, thanks for
It'd also
joining
be
us.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to thank Elstragoon for joining us.
But yeah, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Wednesday Night Crew.
All right. Well, yeah. So that is it for us. Thanks so much, and take care. We'll see y'all next week, where we will dive further into our caravan.
All right. Later.
Later.